Leave him be. I don't need the door shut right now.
TC, can you hear me? Okay. Let's do the same thing because right now I got most of the wall and not a lot of you.
I don't know what to tell you.
What type of webcam you have that doesn't?
What kind of what?
Webcam you have that it doesn't twist down or?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Veteran Nation. As always, with me is my co-host, TC. TC, how you doing?
I'm off my game.
I think we all are a little
I've got
bit
all
today.
sorts of things. I, I I got all sorts of things going on here. My brain's in 5,000 different places. Juan's got my face up here looking like a balloon in a Thanksgiving Day parade for Macy's. I don't know. I'm in a mood today, and I was really looking forward to the guests that we were supposed to have on. I was going to ask hard, pointed questions
Mm-hmm.
of him and about his situation, and now he's not here, and I got my own situations I'm dealing with some law enforcement stuff in my area, and I don't know. I'm in a mood, Skipper. We may have to have another episode of TC's public service announcement for dummies, and and also like several rants. So Juan, be ready for the rant screen. So.
You know, I think we might have to reach out to the Dogface guys because they've been doing on every Sunday night. All the veterans get together and they do on Twitter. They do a sound bath and it's super relaxing. Maybe we'll have to do something like that on the show.
A what?
A sound bath. You've never heard of a
sound
sound
bath.
Yes.
A sound bath, as in make a sound and take a bath in it.
Yes, and yeah, you leave your clothes on. Don't be like me and make it awkward the very first time you go. You do stay clothed. But yeah, it's pretty much they use several different instruments, some Indian or Tibetan sound bowls, and make just different musics that are very calming and soothing. And I find stuff like that helps with my PTSD. I use that. I do guided meditation. I've also found that I think I've said a million times on here, spray paint videos on YouTube I find relaxing. So stuff like that.
Literally have never heard that from you before. Literally never heard that from you before. So
yeah, I've talked about it a couple times. Before, you know what? A lot of it I think was before you joined the show. I did have a friend of the show, CJ.
It's probably good I hadn't heard about it because I probably wouldn't have joined the show.
You know, when it comes to PTSD and mental health, throw everything at the kitchen sink. You know, just throw everything at the wall, see what sticks. That's what I always tell people, because you never know. It might, just like when we were in country. If it sounds stupid but it works, it ain't stupid. It just might look stupid. So
I'm actually working. I had last week. I had a gentleman on Monday night by the name of Jake Whiskershin. He is a certified mental health therapist, counselor, psychologist, whatever, and
nice.
He has a podcast called Guns and Mental Health, and he is with an Yeah, you laugh, but he's with an organization that's called Walk the Talk. And it's exclusively dedicated to bringing the firearms community of ownership as well as firearms manufacturers together with people who struggle with mental health to take away the stigma of having firearms, and especially things like depression and PTSD, and to work through and reach out to mental health professionals to show them that just because your client has PTSD or depression or whatever doesn't mean you have to immediately red flag them and get their guns taken away from them. In fact, you might actually be hurting them more.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to bring him on sometime to talk to our tens and tens of viewers.
Actually, you know what? I think that would be great. In fact, I think tonight's headlines are going to speak a little bit to that. And I find guns can be very therapeutic. Sometimes we just have to destroy something. I will say, listening to gunfire and baby crying, I did not find as soothing as a sound bath. It's not it's not a good PTSD therapy in my mind, but shooting can be very very therapeutic, especially when you're focused in on that target. So again, I recommend to everyone, try it, see what works for you, because you never know. Maybe it is medication, maybe it's something we haven't even thought about or discussed.
Mine is hot chicks doing ASMR.
We still have to do a goat yoga episode. I am 100% down with doing some goat yoga, and I'm not a guy who is into yoga.
No, I'm not doing goat yoga.
I think you should seriously reconsider. I'm sure your family would love having a goat brought to your house.
This body is not meant for bending and stretching, and definitely not with goats. It just has a, that might be a southern thing.
It's definitely, yeah, goat yoga has got to be a country thing. But I can tell you it is making its way out here to LA. But LA people are a little bit off. These are people who will tell you what type of
A little?
They'll tell you what type of crystal you should be using to help make money. I seriously have to meet the guy who monetized.
Is there a crystal for? Is there a crystal for making money?
There is.
Juan's got me all messed up. I gotta sit perfectly still. He keeps moving. I don't know who's messing with who. I don't know if it's me messing with Juan or if Juan's messing with me. I move, Juan. I don't.
We need.
I'm
a
not
Juan
like
camp.
an Air Force guy going to. I'm not. I am not like the Air Force guy hanging out at the enlisted men's club on a Friday night.
I feel so bad for the viewers who miss out on all the great things that Juan does while the show's going on that just make us laugh. And I have been watching. Our viewership on a lot of the platforms is definitely picking up. I've been noticing some. I go in. I'm a dork. I look at the analytics. People are watching for longer. We're getting out there, and that's the cool thing about some.
You
of the
would be
stuff
a
that we're
dork
doing.
without the analytics, honestly.
That is true. That is true. But mainly for Star Wars.
I'm waiting on my podcast branded vehicle to drive around town.
That is something that is one of our goals. I'll let the fans know. Something that we're doing behind the scenes is we are taking this show and turning it into a charity.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was a professional segue, by the way.
Yeah, that was a great segue. We're getting so much better at this. I remember our first couple episodes. It was we didn't even have sound
until we talk about how good we are at it, and then.
Yeah, and then everything falls apart. I'll experience a power outage here. But yeah, that's we're getting better. We're improving, and we're going to turn this show into a charity because we get so many veterans who reach out to us and want our help in one avenue or another. So this will be a way for us to use this platform and expand our reach, expand the way that we can help people. And one of those things that we want to do is we want to get some vehicles that we can travel around in and start taking this thing on the road.
Well, no, I just wanted to drive around in. I'm not going anywhere.
We'll make sure that we put your coffee that you sell. We'll brand it with that as well, so you can deliver and make money off coffee.
No, I'm good with the making the money part. I'm just not traveling. I'm not going to California, bro.
You don't have to. I would.
They wouldn't even let me in this state.
I would never pull you down here. I wouldn't even make you go to Iowa. Maybe Wisconsin.
Dude, I practically live in Iowa.
Yeah, you're down there. You're almost there. I've driven that area. I've driven through there. Didn't stop too much. But yeah, that's what I envision myself as a modern day Charles Kuralt. Do you remember who Charles Kuralt was?
You did the travelogue thing on Sunday mornings.
Yep, CBS Sunday mornings. Him and
Them,
two cameramen in a
that,
Winnebago driving around.
that my grandparents was the only thing that was allowed to have on the TV on Sunday morning before you went to church when you were visiting my grandparents. And that was before cable, and that was before. I mean, not before cable per se. I mean, it led in. It was also cable, but it was before like you could turn on the TV and pick between 15 different do-it-yourself home improvement channels, not shows, channels, and different music video platforms. It was like you had still 30, like you had cable TV, you had 30 channels, and you thought you were nailing it. And still, they didn't have cable. It was Charles Kuralt on Sunday mornings before church, and
Yep.
and if you didn't want to watch that, you could just go sit in your room while you waiting to go to church. And
I
I was like,
remember
oh,
catching
this
him
is such a
before
fun
NFL
show.
games. Yeah, he'd be on before CBS would go to NFL games, and he would just drive around and just talk to people and find interesting stories.
Yep, that's what he did, and now I do that.
That's
My
absolutely what I'm going
gosh,
to be doing.
I learned something. I learned something from all those years of having to watch shows I didn't want to watch.
You know
All
that
right, those of you that have children, make them watch Veteran Nation every week, whether they like it or not. They'll learn things that you will have to unlearn from them.
they're hiring veterans as teachers in Florida. Did you hear about that? Look at me, I'm turning into Jay Leno. Did you hear about this? You hear about this? Yeah, DeSantis signed the law. They're going to hire veterans as teachers.
Well, they're going to have a degree.
They do have to have a degree, but I don't think they require a teacher's certificate. And as I'm watching
Well,
that,
no, we got to.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm
Go
just
ahead.
thinking about all the students who are going to be forced into doing push-ups.
They're probably going to hire a lot of Space Force people to do it.
I think Space Force is the only service
Those
meeting
guys
its
are going to
recruiting
be.
goals.
It's because everybody thinks they're joining Starfleet.
That's what they're trying to sell it as, and it's like
You know it is. It's a bunch of Star Trek nerds that are all like, "Hey, this is cool. We're finally going to go where no man has gone before."
They're going to be signing people up at Comic-Con.
And they get there and they're all disappointed because it's just the Air Force with a space shuttle. That's all it is. It's just the Air Force with a space shuttle, ladies and gentlemen. And they don't even get to carry a gun because you can't shoot in space. So
it's not even a U.S. government space shuttle. It's owned by these private companies now, SpaceX, and I forget what Bezos is named.
well, I mean, the U.S. government space shuttle program has not got a great track record.
This is true. This is true. We made some pretty significant mistakes, and we spent a lot of money. But we now have GPS.
What? Wait, you're talking about government. Lots of mistakes and spend lots of money. It's government or me on a Friday night, one of the two. What are you doing? You're clearly not paying attention. Like when I'm not paying attention, I still try to make it look like I'm paying attention. You're just over there.
We have people who are okay. So I've got a couple things going. I've got different chats set up, and we do have people who are sending information to me right now who want to chat and want to make their voices heard. So as they pop up with a question or with anything, I'm going to go ahead and feed that to you. And
well, see, that's why as much as Juan likes vMix, we got to come up with a chat system. We got to come up with a system that allows people's chats to show up in a sidebar. Juan,
4chan is going to get a hold of that.
There might be.
There's going to be so many troll comments.
Did I say something that's an inside joke for 4chan? I don't know. I'm not a 4chaner, so
4chan likes to go into
never been on it.
I'll tell you, if 4chan wants to do that and they want to jump in our stream, I'm going to invite them because it'll definitely be trolling, but it'll also be
Heck.
hilarious. That's what 4chan likes to do. They like to find shows like ours, jump in the chats, and just try to interrupt the show any way they can.
They couldn't possibly interrupt the show more than we do.
Yeah, we got a viewer comment right now. Marita Gladson says, "Thank you for featuring Justin. He's going through a very rough time. Yeah, he unfortunately is not able, I think, to log in right now. So I don't know if we'll get him before the show ends. But we have.
We're talking about
videos.
Shots.
Yeah, Mr. Shots, 68Shotts on YouTube, who we've talked about on the show before. He is in a battle right now with his local police department and his local county government. He's recorded everything. He's been attacked. He's been arrested multiple times for virtually just recording people. That's what it really boils down to.
Look, I'm gonna dig into his stuff. Not that I don't believe him. I certainly
absolutely
have
we
seen
should be able
things
to question everyone.
That I have seen things that have made me say, okay, this police department, this sheriff's office, whatever it is, clearly has some personality problems. At the on the good side, you don't show up to a call for service wearing a Batman mask. It's not funny. It's unprofessional. It should be grounds for severe discipline. At the very least, if not termination, because it shows that you are literally a part of the problem. But I don't know everything that's going on here with this situation, and as much as he's going through it, how much of it is a result of his inability to get along with his neighbors. Because it does sound like it is coming down strictly the other day, and involving
Starting to
some
cut out on
people-
my end. I don't know if that's
friends. I'm cutting out?
Yeah, you were cutting out a little bit there at the end.
Oh, odd. But we, there are certain things that in a neighbor situation where you've got to be non-aggressive. We just have to have non-aggression as a principle. And if your neighbors are the sole aggressors, then that's an issue. But if you're not doing anything to quell that either, then you might be part of the problem. And so I'm going to have to dig into this. And I don't know enough about Mr. Shott's situation to know to say without any reasonable doubt that there hasn't been some bad decision making on his part. But what I have seen thus far going forward is that regardless of what the history is they've already decided they're gonna end his involvement with anything. And I don't mean that in a threatening way, but they're just not going to take him seriously. And to some degree, they have literally trod all over his liberties and his constitutionally protected freedoms. And the people in the community are clearly starting to pay attention.
We got some comments actually on our video where we showed some of his stuff, and people were saying that his videos were edited. Well, I've been on there. I've watched quite a few of his videos, if not all of them, and I'll tell you, I don't see edits in them. I don't see any edits in them. Now, here's the thing. Is there anything happening when the camera's turned off? That's really the question. But one thing I will say is he's got static cameras pointed at his dock, which is really what's causing this whole situation is the easement where he has the dock where he parks his boat, so he is doing what he can to record everything. And whenever you're in a dispute with a neighbor, the first thing people tell you is document everything. Call the cops when there's a problem. Go for a personal or for a property protection order. He's done both of that. He's been recording things on video. What else? I would ask the people, what else would you have him do? What else? Because these are things that people, are told this is what you should do, and he's doing it. And all it's getting him is more blowback from authorities who really just don't want to respond. And showing up in a Batman mask is really what set me, because I was watching
Well,
all
here,
with interest. But when that video came, I was like, okay, yeah, this guy's not getting a fair shake.
well, but that aside, short of an actual live stream, every video is going to have some sort of editing to it. So
You can't see what's going
and
on
his stuff
behind the
might be
camera.
edited, and it might be edited. I'm not going to say. I don't know if the videos he does put up on YouTube, because they're clearly not live streamed to YouTube. So we don't know if there are places where he's losing his temper. That's not the point. The point is that once law enforcement's called, whether they're sick of him or not, there is a way for them to go about it. If they believe that he is filing false reports, then they should charge him with
Absolutely.
filing false reports. And if he is filing false reports, then it should be dealt with. If he's aggressing, or if his neighbors and him are aggressing each other, they should all be charged. And they shouldn't be just taking his word for it that neighbors are doing things to him and he's just an innocent actor. But like you said, you don't show up in a Batman mask
Yeah.
and expect anybody to believe that you're literally on the side of finding out the truth. We had this, going on. I've been working to have a candidate for office here on, and she was on last night with her campaign manager on my channel. And the week before, I had them on Tuesday night, since we didn't have a show last week because Juan had to have the day off because he had to recover from his time at CPAC.
Down to Paradise.
I could understand with KSOC and all those others, all the women that he was trying to corral at CPAC. He probably was exhausted. I'm surprised. The ladies are going to kill me. But I had them on last Tuesday to talk about one of her opponents, who is the endorsed Republican candidate, who's clearly not living in the Senate district that they're both running for. Mm-hmm. She's running as a conservative independent. They have a left-leaning Democrat that's running, and the endorsed Republican. And the Minnesota rules are you have to be living in residence in the district that you're running for or running in 6 months prior to the election. And they did some, for lack of better terminology, their own private investigation, and they have videographic and photographic evidence showing that he's not living on the property that he bought to live in. They proved it. Turned it into the Supreme Court last Monday, to the Minnesota Supreme and Appellate Court. And that was after they had served him with the case on the Saturday before that. So he had Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. He got notice from the Supreme Court. You have 7 days to respond to this. That day, he called the Douglas County Sheriff's Office in Minnesota to file a criminal complaint against them for trespass. And today, the candidate and her campaign manager found out that they are being charged. They're forwarding criminal charges on them for that. This is the Douglas County, Minnesota Sheriff's Office and I'll be doing a video on my channel talking about this. But if anybody's watching, it's happening all over. It's happening all over. Like the sheriff's law enforcement is being weaponized against people's political opponents.
And I don't know. Are sympathetic.
Something may have happened in the last week that we saw this happen.
Well, you and I are sympathetic because we've experienced this. For me, we've experienced the system not doing what is right and taking, steps to try to hurt someone who's not doing anything wrong. For me, it was the military. For you, it was a sheriff's department. So, I mean, I come into these cases understanding that I do have a bias, that I understand that these issues are going to come up, and we're going to have,
we're going to come into it from a certain aspect, knowing that, yeah, the system is not really protecting anyone, and but that's why people like you and I scream so much for more video evidence. That's for those who are new to the channel, I just uploaded some videos. I went to last week to the San Bernardino County Board of Supervisors. I got a video of it, of my comments there, because I was assaulted here. There was no body cam footage because our sheriff's deputies don't have any. I asked for the 911 calls. I did an open records request. I was denied that. So all the charges were dropped, but I still want the truth to be out there. I want to be able to put the 911 calls, the ones I made, the ones the people who attacked me, the ones they made, so that people can give their own opinion on it.
Well,
because I have people telling me, well, you caused that situation. I went into a place to get something to eat.
Well, worse than that is the reality that you were assaulted, and then you were charged criminally.
Technically, yeah, I was given a ticket because what I did.
But
did
that's a criminal offense.
Yeah, it didn't raise to the level of jail or anything like that.
Right, but it's a criminal offense.
Mm-hmm. It would have been on my record.
Have that on your record if it.
Yep.
It would have been on your record, and you had to pull teeth to get assault charges pressed.
Yeah, and thank God I was on a live stream when it happened, because I would have been charged. Right. They told the deputies I attacked them, and it was was an older couple. I stayed completely nonviolent. And the video of the attack I did post this weekend as well. So people who are watching, feel free to check that out.
And it is a study in patience, by the way. It's after the fact it's funny.
Oh yeah.
After the fact it's funny. During it it's not. But it's happening all over. I just had another county, Sherburne County, Minnesota, 2 weeks ago today. Lady was and Skipper and I are talking about getting some data requests going through that. The lady was removed because she committed the high felonious treasonous crime of mentioning the name of a county commissioner during her public comments.
Yep.
And I was made aware of it within minutes after the end of this situation, and sat on this 30-second clip of the video of her being drug out of this county board meeting by a guy that was
were not aligned.
Easily. Her comments weren't on the line, and the guy the sheriff's office captain, the Sherburne County Sheriff's Office captain, was 5 times your size, and to his credit, he didn't crumple her into a ball, but he just followed orders.
Yeah.
But we got an apology, a open apology publicly from the city administrator or the county administrator, but not from the board chair who ordered it.
Mm-hmm. And here's the thing, like in Mr. Shott's case, I have done, Michigan has its own FOIA, open records, whatever you want to call it. I have requested records. I will post the numbers to those records. Do you know how much money they want for these records?
Oh, it's got to be 1,000 or more.
It's about 1,000. They're saying, oh yeah, it'll cost us $1,000, but if you pay $590, we'll start on the process. So for those of you wondering why we're turning this show into a charity, that's why. So we can start pulling money in.
It's bold. That's got to stop. It's seriously, this open records charging, they make it, oh sure, yeah, we'll give you anything you want, but you got to be willing to pay for it. I about curse. No, that shit's got to stop. It keeps your average person who has a legitimate beef from accomplishing any kind of justice for themselves. You want to talk about equity and justice in this country? I don't care if you're white, black, Hispanic, Native, or any combination of thereof, or Asian, or whatever it might be. If you're not independently wealthy, you're never going to get justice, and you're never going to get anything that you look for, because they make it so financially impossible for you to fight for it.
Yep.
It's like them hiring these 87,000 new IRS agents and telling you you're not going to get audited. Well, you know what? You're right. I honestly believe the Dems. I believe the leftists, and I believe Biden when he says they're not going to audit us. Because here's what's going to happen. They're going to just send you a letter, and that's how it starts. They send you a letter that's going to say you owe us $1,000. You can contest this. It's going to cost you $2,000
I have
to
been here in
contest it, to hire an
California.
attorney to fight it for you.
I've been here in California since 2009. Do you know how many times California has done that to me? 3 times. In just a little bit over a decade. 3 times. They've sent me letters. Hey, you owe us $1,000. They have sent my kid letters saying, oh, hey, you owe $500 to this. And it's like, no. And the moment you send it back and say, no, here's where you're wrong, they back that down every time. But the thing is, if you don't respond to that, or if that letter doesn't get to you, and I was in a situation for a while where my mail was going to someone who did not want me to have it, that you're going to rack up extra charges because you didn't respond.
Yep.
They're
not gonna throw the average person in prison for a tax debt. Like,
no.
Whether you're paying on it or not, they're not gonna, because they want something. They're not gonna throw the average person. But the point is they're gonna just send you a letter, and they're not gonna prove it. They're just gonna say you owe us $1,000. So you could fight this,
because
which means hiring a tax attorney, which is going to be a minimum of a couple of grand, or you could just make an arrangement to pay it.
When they denied my open records request,
and most people will just do it.
When they denied my open records request, California has no appeal like normal FOIA, like federal FOIA.
Mm-hmm.
And I am going to do a video on how to do a federal FOIA. But California has its own law for open records. There's no appeal function. So they told me the only way I was going to get the 911 calls is if I did any type of litigation. So just think about the precedent that's set.
Yep.
We can't give you government records unless you sue. I thought we were trying to get away from being this litigation culture, but that's what they built into the law.
Well, the state doesn't want us to be the state's not anti-litigation. The state's for litigation because they get their cut of it when there is litigation. I mean, and you brought up Josh Rohr down there in Gastonia, North Carolina. Look at what they had to do and the people that they had to get involved. And I'm in communication with somebody else who's been trying to get a hold of Spike, and he's like, well, Spike, why are you only paying attention to this? Well, I mean, okay, bro, I'm sure that you've got a serious case, and this guy's a vet, and so maybe we can have him on as well.
Mm-hmm.
But bro, maybe you do have a serious case. Maybe law enforcement is abusing the crap out of you. And if people get mad at me, and I know the vast majority of people that watch this show lean to the right, they're conservative-ish, but it's time. And if your eyes are just now opening up after the FBI raided Mar-a-Lago, and you're just now going, wait a minute, then you are part of the problem. Because I've been telling people for years, before I ever met Skipper, before I knew Juan, that law enforcement's out of control. It is. Not every single officer, not every single deputy, not every single FBI agent, but by and large, law enforcement's out of control.
Just like
it's a top-down issue.
The military's out of control.
The leadership in law enforcement across the United States, for the most part, is corrupt. That's why the situation in Douglas County, Minnesota, there again, if you guys are interested, you can find me on Minnesota Black Robe Regiment. We're going to be talking about that here in the next day or two. More, because we really would like to bring some of the auditors and some pressure onto these people in Douglas County, especially, and even Sherburne County if needed. But you have a sheriff that could have looked at this situation, looked at his sergeants, looked at his patrol deputies, and said, "We're not doing this. We're not getting involved in this because this is clearly retaliatory action by a person who's already an elected servant sitting in office, who's running for a different Senate seat, or running for a new seat, a newly created Senate seat. We're not getting involved in this." And that, ladies and gentlemen, every law enforcement organization has the authority and the discretion to say, we're not forwarding this for charges. And they do it all the time. There are some very few exceptions to that in most states. Many states have no exceptions to DUI, any suspicion of DUI, and most states have no exception for anything involving domestic abuse. But other than that, there's so much leeway and discretion involved, but yet they're going to go ahead and forward these charges. That's because the leadership's creating the problem. Individual deputies are responsible for their behavior. They need to be making the right decisions. They have to look at leadership and say, even if it costs me my job, I'm willing to do this. I'm willing to stand up and say no. But when you have an environment, when you have a culture where the leadership allows themselves to be politically motivated and allows themselves to make these decisions based on the politics of the region or the politics of the council or whatever, that will eventually bleed into the rank and file. And it will cause problems for the people. And that's what we saw with, Josh Rohr. That's what I believe we're seeing with Mr. Shotts. There again, without even knowing the full story, there's clearly a culture issue there, a culture of corruption issue. Mount Air, New Mexico, we're seeing that play out right there with a corrupt police chief who has corrupt officers, and the people have been going there and trying to get, affect change there. This is because you were going to bring Mr. Shotts on. This is why this is happening tonight. This is all your fault, Skipper. But they were going to try and they tried to affect change there, and the mayor doubled down, and he basically told the council that they weren't going to be allowed to vote on firing the chief. That he was just going to say, no, we're not allowing that. Now this corrupt police officer that worked for the police department, he's resigned. He was allowed to resign. I mean, they got video evidence of him breaking the law, trampling on people's constitutional rights, but he was allowed to resign. And unlike my situation where I resigned after they started to offer me settlements, I did nothing wrong. And here's a guy who's on camera, video, breaking the law with a police chief who has a criminal history for domestic abuse, by the way, and lied on his application and lied on his background packet, and he got hired, and they won't fire him. And I get lumped into a category like that. So
that's why I love body cams. That's why I love auditors, because I don't believe every person out there in military, in police, whatever, I don't think they're all bad, but it's hard to, without proof, to wean out the ones who are. That's why body cameras are a great thing for our law enforcement. And we're getting some great comments. We have Melissa, who's 8 years law enforcement.
Where
she
are
says,
they watching?
We've got some comments on Facebook. We got some comments on YouTube. But Melissa says, it's not our job to let things escalate. We're not the judge and jury. The job is about public safety, and many have forgotten why they do it. So that's absolutely true. And us as a public, we should not sit back. Mr. Shotts is all the way in Michigan. I stumbled across his videos out here in California. I will absolutely keep fighting for him every way I can. I've told him, look, I will support you, not just with this, but with other stuff. And, I posted one of the videos of me being harassed with my service dog. It was a very short one where a Marine major was harassing me. And I point out the point in the video where I start having an anxiety attack. And, this was one of the early things of harassment that I dealt with. So when I was attacked, I was able to handle it way better than had it just happened when I was first diagnosed. But, most people are not prepared for that. Most people would act in, they would be just beside themselves when this stuff happens to them. And that's why we have to protect people who are absolutely abiding by the law.
Oh, and Juan, I'm going to send you a link to a 32-second video showing exactly what we're talking about here. If you want to, Skipper, you can put it in the chat. But also, I'd like to have everybody watch it.
Sure.
Because it's literally 32 seconds. It's on my YouTube channel. But this is the Sherburne County situation that we're talking about, and it's literally as Juan's looking it up to put it up. If he's on his phone right now, he's not paying attention to the show. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, this is a hostile takeover. Skipper and I are taking over Red America Media. This is now Veteran Nation's Red America Media. You can all sponsors and whatnot. You can send your checks directly to Veteran Nation. Juan's just totally ignoring us.
He's right now fielding a call where they're asking him, we've been trying to get in touch with you on your extended warranty.
And he made the mistake of saying yes. Can you hear me? Yes. Oh, damn. Skipper, did you see that come through in the text?
I did. I'll get that into the chat here so that people can pull that up and watch it for themselves. Again, that's the thing.
Yep. Make
a judgment for yourself. That's the beauty of having a camera. I just bought a new one. I don't have it within distance, but I'm going to start. I've got my dash cam, as you know, and now I've got one that I'm just going to start taking around because, yeah, you have to. And, I always have my phone, but it might not have the greatest, I tend to drain my battery.
But yeah, we just have to. We have to get to a point where, in this situation from Sherburne County 2 weeks ago, I had a couple of people that were on scene say to me, "I feel bad because I didn't stand up and say no." And I said, "Good," because that's what needs to happen. I'm not talking about violence. I'm not talking about doing harm to anybody in a public servant's position. But if you get a room full of people and they go to remove a speaker because that speaker has been determined to be out of order for saying someone's name, and you stand up and say, no, we're not going to allow you to remove her or him, I think it's going to have an impact in a positive way for people, because the commenter that you said many people have forgotten why we serve. And that, I think that reminder from the sheeple, if you will, when the sheep stand up and bite, people notice.
Mm-hmm.
And it's better for it to be in an act of civil disobedience than it is for, some kook to lose his mind and do something that we would all regret.
If one can find it.
And at this point, I feel like we're just filling time because Juan is just on his phone, extending his warranty.
If we could put it up, it doesn't have to be this show, but at some point we should show the Parks and Recreation clip of all the town hall meetings where people are just there screaming at the officials. And you know what? That's the way it should be. That is the way it
You're
should
damn
be.
right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I've been having that conversation so much for the last 2 weeks. It should be that way. It should. It should. Like, it literally should be. I should be able to walk in and say, listen here, you, not that you would necessarily, but listen here, you blankety blank, blankety blank, 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 blank. My taxes have gone up every year for the last 15 years, and you keep telling me it's for the good. I still have potholes in my street. You're a moron. That should not get me removed. It shouldn't get me removed at all. That shouldn't. But no, can't do that today.
Yeah, if you're not breaking the rules of decorum, which are essentially just if you're not cussing at people, you should be able to say whatever you want.
No, I should be able to cuss.
Alex Stein's been going around making funny videos of doing just that, going in front of various city councils and saying just nonsense because he's a comedian and that's what he's doing.
It's funny, but it's true.
Yeah,
it's absolutely true. I should be able to walk in to a city council meeting or a county board meeting or a school board meeting or a library board meeting, I should be able to go and have a public hearing in the Senate and during or the House or whatever, and I should be able to cuss like a sailor up one
Stop
side
giving
and
me
down the other
video ideas. As we travel around this country, stop giving me ideas.
with the Marine there translating it in a crayon for all of the other Marines. But I should be able to go into these meetings and cuss. I'm not saying it's right, but I should be able to do that. But did you lose your teeth? But I juxtapose that situation in Sherburne from August 2nd to a meeting on December 21st of 2021 with the same county administrator praising the outgoing county board chair for 5 minutes, just heaping praise on her by name, lavishing all sorts of praise on her, taking time out of public business to praise her, and then present her with a plaque. And he said, "We, the people of Sherburne County, want to give you this." Fast forward to August 2nd, and this lady mentions the same county commissioner who's no longer the board chair by name one time, and she's removed. Ladies and gentlemen, is why we have a problem.
And everyone here, like, I know we sound like we're pretty much in agreement, but you and I, we don't agree on everything, especially when it comes to humor. And that's the thing. You should want someone to tell you.
Yeah, because I have a sense of humor, and I have a sense of humor, and you don't.
Did you hear why the teacher married the janitor?
Juan, I don't appreciate the face that you just made.
Do you know why the teacher?
No, Skipper. Why did the teacher marry the janitor?
He swept her off her feet.
Who gets to look now, Juan?
People are not tuning in for the humor.
That's what happens with... No, they're not.
I'll still keep giving it.
Skipper, do we have that side-by-side of Despicable Me still?
Uh-oh. Now, you see, he's off the phone. Now you got Juan working, doing stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, Juan is our producer, and he's the wizard who's behind the curtain, who does all the stuff that makes this show look as professional as what it does, when it does. When it doesn't, it's normally this guy's fault.
Very good clarification, by the way.
Or this guy's
when
fault.
It does.
Mostly this guy.
I'm with stupid.
You're pointing the wrong way. That's... Okay, so you saw my stuff about merchandise ideas for the show.
I was trying to not bring it up because we're already at 8:15.
Okay. We can save the Skippers... We can save Skipper's rejected merchandise ideas for a future show. But, yeah.
I do want to... I think we should save that, but I do want to say, to Juan, thank you so much for bringing us onto RAM, Right American Media. But also I want to thank the folks over at New Right Network, because they're the originals, and we still do our show there, and it's because of these two platforms that the alternative voices, sadly, I hate to say it, but alternative voices such as ours and the other shows on both networks are out there now, able to lift up a counter narrative to the prevailing regime narrative that's out there right now. And if you don't know what the regime is, ladies and gentlemen, there may not be any hope for you. You should probably just go ahead and join the Space Force.
And they always say that us officers are the ones who are good at kissing butt.
I'm just doing what officers don't normally do, which is remember all the details.
True. Speaking of which, and one can chime in on this, I learned something this week. when it comes to pilots' helmets, I was talking to a pilot and I was like, "Do you guys get those painted or done up somewhere?" And he was like, "Actually, most times it's tape. It's supposed to be reflective safety tape, but normally they've got some, soldier or somebody, off on the sides, airman or whatnot, who is artistic, and they'll do up their helmet for them." And I did not know that pilots. I thought they would have to pay someone to paint their helmet.
Did you say it's Air Force? Did you mean to say artistic or autistic?
Kind of the same nowadays, right? Oh my. I swear it's not me. It's not me.
Juan, do you have? Juan's like, we got to kill time. I was gonna say, Juan, do you have a video we could watch while you run to the bathroom or whatever it is you're doing? Juan's gonna put a video up for us while he runs and comes back. He's probably got a helmet that was made up by an airman.
I am embarrassed to be an American citizen.
And I'm a Latino from Venezuela who loves the United States. But following your logic, I'm fucking embarrassed of being Venezuelan, Latino, or whatever. My country is one of the most corrupted nations in the world. When it comes to gun violence, Venezuela is not far away from the United States. This is a country with no more than 32 million people. I mean, yeah. And human rights? That does not exist. You have freedom of speech in America or in Canada. You have no idea how lucky you are. If you make that video in Venezuela, you will go to prison. But funny enough, I didn't come here to the United States hating Venezuela. No way. I actually love my country and I understand that there are many issues that we're facing right now. For me and for many immigrants who come here, we consider America a much better place to live in. And by the way, I respect the decision that she made because she left the United States. Many people will say, if you don't love it, just leave it. So she did that. But what do you think? Because of the situation that right now the United States is facing, are you embarrassed of being an American?
Lesson learned.
No, that's yeah. The Americans I've met overseas that were living overseas did not hate America. They actually found a newfound appreciation for it. So,
Yep, leave this country for a while and then come back and tell me how much you hate it.
when they say they're leaving, they're always going to like Norway or Sweden or Switzerland. Like
Nobody says, I hate this country, I'm going to Ethiopia.
Yeah, they're never like, here's a place where cannibalism is accepted. Let's go there.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Juan, you got to put that on screen. That is awesome. Very nice. Yeah, I can see where that would be reflective. So, if you ever have to bail out, you would.
Just so everybody knows, that was Juan's. It's like a modified Chargers helmet and some Transformer stuff put on it. Juan flew a desk chair.
Jealousy will get you nowhere, TC.
Juan, what was your call sign?
Oh my.
Oh my.
Oh my.
Yep.
There's a story. I know there's a story.
Yes, there's plenty of stories about that one. You see, let me see. You see right there?
Nice.
So, last name Gaud. You can figure it out. Oh my God.
We got it. We got it. You might want to write it in crayon though.
Yep, that's true.
We do have a pretty strong Marine contingency that watches.
No, it was either that or stories with females, but this is a PG show, you know?
Yeah, clearly.
Better
Yeah,
Nation After
exactly.
Dark. Well,
Well,
So
bring the
anyway,
lights down,
what
folks.
happened to your
Time to tell a
guests?
story.
don't know. I
He was having
lost
connection
comms with them.
issues.
Yeah, we lost
Wow.
comms with
Batman
them.
came for him.
Well,
We
guys,
do have.
I think I got it. As you mentioned, I spent last week or the week before in CPAC, and we were able to do about 43 different interviews that I'm trying to
That's awesome.
do post production and be able to post them. And we connected with a lot of people. We network with a bunch of people, other networks, and other shows that wants to come to Right American Media and broadcaster shows. And actually, I once I finish everything, I got a couple of numbers that I can send your way for Veteran Nation as well. Some people that would love to be in this show because I promoted your show
Ladies and
as well.
gentlemen, we've enjoyed our stay on Right American Media, but Juan's going to have to make room for all these other shows that want to come on now. So,
Actually,
and
not for the shows, but some of the hosts. I'm gonna have to just move aside. So
that's that's fine. Skipper's got a fallback career.
I'm gonna get
that's
pushed.
right. You know, we're just gonna let me see if I can make this one work. Let's see. We're just gonna make a little. No, not that one. Let me see. Is that you? No.
I know what you're doing
Do
before you
you
even
really?
do it.
Do you?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. We're just gonna make a
you threaten it all
little
the
bit
time.
of
Yeah,
space.
yeah, I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing.
I'm just kidding, TC.
I know it's
No,
it's fair
no,
game. Fair
no,
game.
man.
It's fair game.
I
No,
will
no.
say this:
So
doing
no.
this show is easier with a co-host. It's nice always having someone to talk to. I did it for a long time by myself, but I love having you as a co-host, TC.
Aw, ladies and gentlemen, this kind of conversation never happens when we're not on stream. So
We love having you here.
normally the conversation looks more like this. Skipper texts Juan and I in the morning of the show and says, "Hey, so and so's coming on," and I go, "Oh, thanks for the warning."
People are very flighty. I've had people, oh yeah, you're coming on next week, and we got a big guest next week. But again, it's not solid until showtime. So, and I will be on the road next week, so it'll be interesting me doing the show. I should be here, but
It couldn't possibly be any sketchier than you at home most of the time.
well, I won't be home. I'll be at a hotel, so we'll see how that goes.
Please, no more. Don't tell us anymore.
Yeah, just make sure you look behind you before you turn on the camera. Okay. We don't want to see anything that we don't want to try to explain later. So
No Hunter Biden videos for me.
no Hunter Biden videos. that's
Oh
right.
gosh, no, please. Oh.
Hey guys, but talking about CPAC and about videos that I have, if you don't mind, I wanted to show you probably what I thought was a highlight of
Sure.
CPAC for Right American Media. You know, actually, and I had to kind of do some cuts on this video because, well, you know Keith Hansen, right? He's another one of our hosts.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say I know the name.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we got we got stood up by Steve Bannon on one of our interviews, and it was a last minute cancellation. And boy, was Keith not a very happy man. And this is just part of the rant. And I think TC, you're gonna love this one.
I like rants.
Yeah, you're gonna love this one. And by the way, I want you to take a look at the studio, the set that we put together to CPAC. We actually are gonna give the credit to Shannon Meisner, who was Savannah or Savvy, the Savvy Truth mom. She put this together, and we really look really good out there. So if you if you don't mind, I can burn three minutes, but I think you'll enjoy this rant.
Sure.
Guys.
Yeah, I think we do these 3 minutes and then we say goodbye because we've taken up a lot of bandwidth
Bye,
tonight.
farewell, Avita, Saint Adieu.
Well, guess what? with this one, you can say goodbye. You'll see.
The past couple of years, I've been talking to a lot of Americans. I'm not talking about politicians and people who make a living out of politics. I'm talking about people who are directly impacted by the policies that these people make. They're concerned and they want to get involved. And there's 3 reasons why people don't get involved. And I'm going to make a bold prediction that this country is going to fall. And this country is going to fall because we are masters of the circular firing squad. We have perfected the art of the circular firing squad. And then there's 3 types of people. Which one do you identify with? Number 1, the people who are afraid of being made uncomfortable. People who are afraid to step out and speak their minds because they might lose their job. Or, God forbid, I might lose my Facebook account. Twitter might shadow ban me. The second group of people are people who have not been made uncomfortable enough. These are the people who say, I'll worry about it when the fight comes to my doorstep. When the fight comes to my doorstep, then I'll worry about it. If I lose my job, then I'll be concerned. If, gas prices finally reach $10 a gallon, then I'm going to be concerned. If a loaf of bread costs me $8, then I'm going to be concerned. People who haven't been made uncomfortable enough. And then you have the people who have given their time and their money and their resources to try to fight in whatever way that they can for something that they believe in. And they get taken advantage of by grifters. The politicians walking through the crowds with their noses in the air, followed by 20 or 30 little assistants, all trying desperately to pick up whatever scraps fall from that person's table. It's disgusting. Self-serving, self-advancing, narcissistic, egomaniacal people. And then you have the people who sit behind a national desk, who talk about how wonderful they are and how they're fighting for the rights of the average people. They don't give a shit about you. They care about their pocketbook, they care about their name, they care about their own advancement. But they don't care about you, and they don't care about this country. As long as they have the means to carry them forth when this entire experiment in self-government goes awry, they're happy. Because they've got money to create an exit strategy for themselves. I'm tired of wasting my time trying to inspire and reach and teach people and push a narrative and push initiatives that turn up nothing. It's amazing. People use other people. You talk about the evils of the progressive left. Let me tell you something. There are evils within the Republican Party. The people who seek to serve only themselves. And I pledge to you right now, the next time I interview any of these people, we're going to take a different approach to how we interview these people. It's about time you get pissed off. I know I am. Because I see what's happening to the country that I love. I watch what happens to people that have values and principles, faith and integrity. They get dumped on, they get doxxed, they get canceled. Folks, we're in a war right now. You have to find your courage and your conviction. If you're one of those people that's waiting until you're made uncomfortable enough to get involved, that time is now. If you're one of those people that's afraid of being uncomfortable, if you think you're afraid of being uncomfortable because you're going to get doxxed on social media, you need a wake-up call. The least of your problems is having your social media account canceled. If that's where your priority is, being validated by nameless, faceless strangers on a social media platform, you might want to go see a psychiatrist. The ones that I feel bad for are the ones that give their time and their energy and their efforts to people that are, in essence, black holes. Everything goes in. Money and time and resources pour into those efforts, and nothing comes out. As a matter of fact, there's not even a measurable metric for success. Why? Because it was never intended to be successful. It was intended to be a mechanism for self-advancement of the people who found these organizations, who populate these organizations. As long as you get your name and your face on national media, as long as it gets you an audience with President Trump, you're good with it. Think about who is really affected. You are. Your country is dying. Wake up. Get pissed off. Start holding these people accountable. I don't really have anything more to say about this right now, to be honest with you. One, let's go to commercial. I'm disgusted.
You tell him that he's welcome on my show anytime.
Absolutely. If you need help cutting that video up and pushing that out, Juan, you let me know, because that is a great rant. This is unconfirmed, but it's breaking news. I'm hearing that Bam Margera has passed away. Don't know if it's completely... I haven't found anything about it, but I just got that texted to me, so find out if it's true or not.
Who? I'm sorry.
One of the guys from Jackass.
Oh.
Yeah. Don't know if it really happened, but it's
sad.
breaking news if it is.
Well, considering some of the things that they do, it would not shock me. And I don't mean that to be funny.
Yeah, he was just in recovery. He was not in the last Jackass movie because he was getting treatment. But yeah, unconfirmed report came in at the very end of that rant, but that was an excellent rant. Yeah, that's absolutely true. People need to be engaged.
Yep, absolutely.
Do you want to plug your stuff before we head out?
Yeah. TC Pearson at Robe Regiment on Twitter. I know that rant. I'm just, because it's everything I've been saying for the last 5 years, but especially the last 2.5, because I'm with him. Like I've lost. I have lost.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people understand that when Skipper and I sit here and talk about this stuff, we're not talking about it in a vacuum. So, yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Robe Regiment. You can find me on Subscribestar, Minnesota Black Robe Regiment podcast. YouTube channels, Minnesota Black Robe Regiment. I would really appreciate it if everybody, and I appreciate the fact that Juan doesn't mind me bringing up my channel on here. The stuff that I'm working on right now with these 2 different counties, and I got another county in the mix that apparently is full of corruption. The stuff that I'm working on right now, folks, this could be a sea change, but we need people to actually get involved. Like he was saying, get involved, because if you wait, like you said, until it comes to your doorstep, it's too late. We have to take the fight to them on a philosophical level, because if we wait, it's over. So, yeah. Skipper, I think we have some merchandise.
Yeah, you can always go on to Teespring in the description of the video. If you're watching on YouTube, we have it there. If you're going on to at Vet Nation Host on Twitter, we have the link there as well. On TruthSocial, we are at Veteran Nation. On Instagram, we're at Vet Nation Show. So we're out there in social media. We've got a lot of our stuff out there. Buy some of our merchandise. We're coming up with more. We're going to be doing a lot more things. And yeah, this will absolutely come to your door. It came to mine. I walked away from a military career because I could see the writing on the wall. I'd seen too many people screwed over. And I spoke up against it, and it all got turned on to me. TC dealt with very similar things as well. This is something, if it hasn't affected you yet, stand by. Stand by. That's all I have.
I took an oath.
Yep.
I took an oath a long time ago when I joined the military, and then I took that oath a couple of different times when I entered the law enforcement world. Damn it means something to me, and I still hold that oath probably more dear than a lot of the people who are serving in any of those positions still.
Absolutely.
and I will watch out for you. If you have a story to tell and you can back it up, I will tell your story. Skipper and I
reach
will
out
tell
to
your
us.
story here.
Reach out to us. We're all about the little guy. Well, everyone, that's going to be the show for this evening. Thank you for joining us. And as always, thank you for being worth serving.